My name is Claire. I am 26. And 3 weeks before my wedding, my sister Rachel called the venue pretending to be me and canceled everything. The call came at 7:47 on a Tuesday morning. I was making coffee in my apartment when my phone lit up with a number I didn't recognize. The woman on the other end sounded confused and apologetic at the same time. "Miss Harper?" she said. "This is Deanna from Riverside Gardens. I'm calling to confirm your cancellation request from yesterday." I froze. The coffee mug slipped in my hand. Hot liquid splashed on the counter. "I'm sorry," I said slowly. "What cancellation?" There was a pause. Papers rustling in the background. "We received a call yesterday afternoon from you requesting to cancel your August 12th wedding. The caller confirmed your booking number, your fiancé's name, everything. We processed the refund to your card on file." My heart stopped. "I never called you." Another pause. Longer this time. "Miss Harper, the woman who called knew all your details. She said there had been a family emergency. She was very upset." I sat down hard on my kitchen floor. My wedding, my venue, the place David and I had booked 14 months ago, the garden ceremony under the oak trees, the reception hall with those floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the lake, gone. "Can you tell me what time the call came in?" I whispered. "Let me check. 3:22 p.m. yesterday." 3:22 p.m. I had been at work, at a client meeting that ran until 5. My phone had been on silent in my bag, but I knew exactly who had been free at 3:22 p.m. yesterday. My sister, Rachel. If you stay with me until the end, I'll tell you exactly how my own sister tried to destroy my wedding and how she ended up losing everything she cared about instead. Let me back up. Rachel is 29, 3 years older than me, and for as long as I can remember, she's been the golden child, the one who got everything first, the one our parents celebrated at every turn. She was valedictorian, I was third in my class. She got a full scholarship to Northwestern. I worked my way through state school. She married her college boyfriend in a massive wedding our parents paid for entirely. 200 guests, designer dress, destination honeymoon in Tuscany. When David proposed to me last year on a rainy Tuesday at our favorite coffee shop, I was over the moon. I didn't need a big proposal. I didn't need a ring that cost 3 months' salary. I just needed him. But Rachel's reaction when I told the family was strange. She smiled, but her eyes went flat. She hugged me, but her grip was too tight. She said congratulations, but her voice sounded hollow. "Finally, your turn." At the time, I thought she was being supportive. Now I realize she was calculating. Rachel's marriage had been falling apart for 6 months. Her husband Mark worked constantly. They barely spoke. She'd confided in me a few times, usually after too much wine, about how lonely she felt, how she wondered if they'd gotten married too young. But she never talked about it in front of our parents. In front of them, everything was perfect. Always perfect. When David and I started wedding planning, Rachel inserted herself into every decision. She had opinions about my dress, my flowers, my color scheme. She forwarded me articles about wedding trends. She sent me links to photographers and caterers. At first, I thought she was being helpful, sisterly. Then she started making comments. "Are you sure about that venue? It's pretty basic. David's suit is nice, but have you seen the custom options? A buffet dinner? I guess that works if you're on a budget." Every comment was wrapped in concern, but underneath it I could feel the judgment, the comparison to her wedding, the implication that mine would never measure up. I ignored it. I focused on David, on building our life together, on the fact that our wedding didn't need to compete with anyone else's. But then, 2 months ago, Rachel's marriage officially ended. Mark moved out. She filed for divorce. And suddenly, she stopped talking about my wedding altogether. She stopped returning my calls, stopped showing up to family dinners. Our mom said she was going through a hard time and needed space. I gave her space. I should have paid more attention. 3 weeks before my wedding, I was at work when my phone buzzed with a text from Rachel, the first one in weeks. "Hey, can we talk? I missed you." I texted back immediately. "Of course. Everything okay? Can you come over tonight? I need to show you something." I told her I'd be there at 7. I was relieved. I thought maybe she was finally ready to open up, to let me in. I had no idea what she was actually planning. That evening, I drove to Rachel's apartment. She'd moved into a smaller place after Mark left. 1 bedroom, neutral walls. It felt temporary, like she hadn't really unpacked her life yet. She opened the door wearing sweatpants and an oversized sweater. Her hair was in a messy bun. No makeup. She looked tired. "Come in," she said. I followed her inside. The apartment was quiet. Too quiet. No TV, no music. Just the hum of the refrigerator. We sat on her couch. She poured us both wine. We talked about nothing for a while. Work, the weather, our parents. Then she looked at me with this strange expression. Sad, almost pitying. "Claire," she said, "I need to tell you something." My stomach dropped. "What?" "David came to see me last week." I blinked. "What? Why?" "He wanted to talk about the wedding, about you." I set my wine glass down. "Rachel, what are you talking about?" She reached across the couch and took my hand. Her grip was gentle, too gentle. "I'm sorry I have to tell you this, but he asked me not to say anything. He said he needed time to figure out what he wants." I pulled my hand away. "David wouldn't do that. He wouldn't talk to you about this. He'd talk to me." Rachel's eyes filled with tears. Real tears. "I know this is hard to hear, but I couldn't let you walk into a marriage with someone who has doubts. You deserve better." I stood up. My legs felt shaky. "I need to go." "Claire, wait." "I need to talk to David." I left without finishing my wine, without saying bye. I drove straight to David's apartment. He opened the door in his gym clothes, surprised to see me. "Hey, I thought you were at Rachel's. Did you go see her last week?" He frowned. "What? No, why would I?" "She said you came to talk to her about the wedding, about having doubts." His face went hard. "Claire, I have never talked to Rachel about us, ever. What is she saying?" And that's when I knew. Rachel wasn't trying to help me. She was trying to destroy me. David and I stayed up until 2 a.m. that night going through everything, every interaction with Rachel, every comment, every moment that felt off. He showed me his phone, his calendar, his credit card statements, proof that he'd never been anywhere near Rachel's apartment. "Why would she lie about this?" he asked. I didn't have an answer, not yet. But the next morning when I got that call from the venue, everything clicked into place. Rachel wasn't just trying to break us up, she was trying to erase my wedding entirely. I called her immediately. She answered on the 3rd ring, her voice still groggy with sleep. "Claire, what's wrong?" "Did you call Riverside Gardens yesterday?" I asked. My voice was shaking, not with sadness, with rage. Silence. "Rachel, did you cancel my wedding venue?" "I don't know what you're talking about," she said, but her voice had changed. Defensive. Careful. "The venue called me this morning. They said someone called yesterday at 3:22 p.m. pretending to be me. They canceled everything. They processed a refund." "Claire, that's crazy. Why would I do that?" "You tell me." More silence. Then, quietly, "Maybe it's a sign." I laughed. Actually laughed. "A sign? You think sabotaging my wedding is helping me?" "I'm trying to protect you," she said. Her voice rose. "You're making a huge mistake. David isn't who you think he is." "You lied about him coming to see you," I said. "He showed me everything, his calendar, his phone. You made it up." "I didn't lie," she hissed. "He called me. He texted. He—" "Show me proof then. Show me the texts, the calls." She hung up. I stood in my kitchen, phone in hand, shaking. David came up behind me and wrapped his arms around my shoulders. "What do you want to do?" he asked quietly. I thought about it, about calling the venue back, about begging them to reinstate the booking, about trying to explain that my own sister had committed fraud. Then I thought about something else. I called my mom. She answered cheerfully, like she always did. "Claire? Good morning, sweetheart." "Mom, I need to tell you something, and I need you to listen to the whole thing before you react." Her tone shifted immediately. "What happened?" I told her everything: the venue cancellation, Rachel's lie about David, the strange behavior over the past 2 months. When I finished, there was a long silence. "Your sister is going through a very difficult time," my mom said finally, carefully. "So that makes it okay? She can lie and sabotage my life because she's sad about her divorce? Of course not. But Claire, she's hurting. She's not thinking clearly. Mom, she committed fraud. She pretended to be me. She canceled a contract in my name." Another pause. "Are you sure it was her?" And there it was, the thing I'd been afraid of, my mom's refusal to believe that Rachel could do something wrong. The call came at 3:22 p.m. I was at work, David was at work. The only person who knew all my booking details, who had access to my emails, who would have a reason to do this, was Rachel. "I'll talk to her," my mom said. "I don't want you to talk to her. I want you to believe me." "I do believe you, sweetheart, but—" "There's always a but with Rachel." And I hung up. David squeezed my hand. What now? I looked at him, at this man who had never once doubted me, who had shown me his entire life just to prove my sister was lying, who was willing to stand by me even when my own mother wouldn't fully take my side. "Now," I said, "we fix this, and we make sure she can't do it again." I called Riverside Gardens back. Diana answered, sounding nervous. "Miss Harper, I'm so sorry about the confusion." "It wasn't confusion. Someone impersonated me and canceled my booking. That's fraud, and I need you to help me prove it." There was a long pause. "We have the call recorded," she said quietly. "We record all cancellation requests for exactly this reason." My heart jumped. "Can I get a copy?" "I'll need to check with my manager, but if this is truly fraud, we'll cooperate fully." 2 hours later, I had the recording. Diana emailed it to me with an apologetic note about the situation. I listened to it once, just once. That was all I needed. It was Rachel's voice, trying to sound like me. She'd pitched her voice slightly higher, used phrases I use, but it was unmistakably her. "There's been a family emergency. I need to cancel. I'm so sorry. This is just too hard right now." I saved the file, backed it up 3 times. Then I called a lawyer. His name was Peter Chen, a family friend who'd helped my parents with estate planning years ago. When I explained what happened, he was silent for a moment. "Your sister impersonated you to cancel a vendor contract?" he repeated. "Yes." "And you have a recording?" "Yes." "Claire, this isn't just about the wedding venue anymore. This is identity fraud. If she's done this once, she might do it again. You need to protect yourself." He walked me through the steps: filing a police report, contacting the venue officially, documenting everything, freezing my credit, changing passwords. "This is going to get ugly," he warned. "Family cases always do. Are you sure you want to go this route?" I thought about Rachel, about the sister who used to braid my hair when I was little, who taught me how to ride a bike, who cried with me when our dog died. Then I thought about the woman who lied about my fiancé, who had tried to destroy my wedding, who would do it again if I let her. "I'm sure," I said. The police report was filed on Thursday. By Friday afternoon, 2 officers showed up at Rachel's apartment. My mom called me 6 times in a row. I didn't answer. Rachel called once, her voice shaking, crying. "Claire, please, I made a mistake. I wasn't thinking clearly. Don't do this to me." "You did this to yourself," I said, and hung up. The legal process was slow, painful. Rachel hired a lawyer who argued that she'd been having a mental health crisis, that the divorce had destabilized her, that she needed therapy, not criminal charges. My lawyer argued that mental health struggles don't excuse fraud, that what she did was calculated, deliberate, and damaging. In the end, Rachel pled guilty to a misdemeanor. She paid restitution for the venue costs and the legal fees. She was ordered to complete counseling and stay away from me for 6 months. My parents were devastated. They begged me to drop the charges, to forgive her, to remember that she was family. I told them that family doesn't mean letting someone destroy your life without consequences. David and I rebooked our wedding, not at Riverside Gardens. We found a smaller venue, a barn with string lights and wildflowers. It cost less. It felt more us. We got married on a Saturday in September. 70 guests. My parents came, but they barely spoke to me. They sat in the back. They left before dinner. Rachel wasn't there. She wasn't invited. But you know who was there? David's family, our friends, people who showed up because they loved us, not because they felt obligated. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like I was competing with Rachel. I felt free. 3 months after the wedding, Rachel reached out, a text message. "I'm sorry, really sorry. I was in a bad place, but that's not an excuse. I hope someday you can forgive me." I didn't respond, not because I hate her, but because forgiveness doesn't mean going back to the way things were. My mom still calls every few weeks. She asks if I've talked to Rachel, if I've considered reconciling, if I understand how hard this has been for her. I tell my mom that I hope Rachel gets help, that I hope she heals, but that doesn't mean I have to be part of her life anymore. People think cutting off family is cruel. They think you're cold or unforgiving. But here's what I've learned. Protecting yourself isn't cruel. Setting boundaries isn't punishment. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to walk away from people who keep hurting you, even if they're family. Rachel wanted what I had because she'd lost what she had. She couldn't stand to see me happy when she was miserable, so she tried to bring me down to her level. But happiness isn't a competition. Love isn't a limited resource. And my wedding wasn't a threat to her. It was just a reminder of what she lost. That's not my problem to fix. Last week, I got a message from a number I didn't recognize. It was Mark, Rachel's ex-husband. "I heard what happened," the message said. "I'm sorry she did that to you. For what it's worth, she did similar things to me toward the end. I should have warned you." I thanked him, then I blocked the number. Not out of anger, but because I don't need to know more about Rachel's patterns. I already learned my lesson. David and I are building our life together. We bought a small house last month. We adopted a dog named Charlie. We're talking about kids someday. My parents aren't part of that conversation. Not right now. Maybe not ever. That hurts, but it hurts less than pretending everything is fine. Sometimes I think about what my mom said, that Rachel was going through a hard time, that I should have been more understanding. But understanding someone's pain doesn't mean accepting their abuse. Empathy doesn't mean becoming a doormat. I hope Rachel is doing better now. I hope she got the help she needed. I hope she's healing. But I don't need to be there to watch it happen. Here's the thing I wish someone had told me earlier, the thing I want you to hear if any of this sounds familiar. You are not responsible for managing other people's emotions. You are not required to sacrifice your happiness to protect someone else's feelings. And you are absolutely allowed to say no to people who hurt you, even if they're family. Being related to someone doesn't give them unlimited chances to hurt you. It doesn't mean you owe them forgiveness before they've earned it. It doesn't mean you have to keep showing up to be torn down. This story isn't legal advice. If you're dealing with identity fraud or family sabotage, talk to a lawyer and document everything. But I hope this reminds you of something important. You are not selfish for protecting yourself. You are not cruel for setting boundaries. And you are absolutely not obligated to light yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. Your life is yours. Your happiness is yours. And anyone who tries to take that from you, family or not, doesn't deserve a place at your table. I chose me. I chose David. I chose peace, and I've never regretted it for a second.